before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. Where the rule of law governs the conduct of nations.
Centuries to build.
I have in my possession a secret map made in Germany by Hitler's government, by the planners of the New World Order.
by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. I said, oh, it's worse than that. It describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. 7 countries in 5 years.
All right, yo, what's up, everybody? I'm gonna do a little audio check to see how I sound real quick before I get this started. So, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see how I sound. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everybody, I'm gonna do a little audio check. Testing 1, 2. All right, yo, I sound pretty good. All right, yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back for another stream for the 4th night, well, morning now, in a row. You know what I'm saying? So, what's up, everybody? My name is 2 Liter J. This is the Sacramento Truth Movement. We are live on 3 channels right now. Eventually, we'll. Sorry, it's. I just got off work. It's pretty late for me, but eventually I'm going to be live on. I want to go probably like 5 channels. I want to go live on Twitter and Instagram, and BitChute now has a live streaming section, so probably on there as well. I just legitimately just got off work like an hour ago, and I've been setting up this stream right here for stuff that I want to cover. But I dropped in. Here I am. Normally around this time when I get off, I just be like doing absolutely nothing, just like doom scrolling through YouTube shorts. But I thought I would do something counterproductive and come on here, do a little stream right now. So I already got people that have been commenting, hands up, don't shoot. I can't breathe. Rush Limbaugh is one of the greatest American heroes of all time. Yeah, let's switch over to who is fucking Rush Limbaugh with Dark MAGA. I made that last night. I thought that was or not last night, yesterday. Let's go back to the comments. Yo, Quaker Jake, what's going on? Good morning. You can't speak because you stream every day almost now. Yeah, it has. It's 4 days in a row. You play Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, usually when I come home, but I thought I would go stream. I thought I would go live tonight. I'm like, I'm pretty tired, but I'm gonna do this anyway. So there's some stuff that I wanted to cover tonight. I've been like scrolling through Charlie Kirk's Twitter. There's some stuff that I want to look at. Do I sound all right? Am I coming through pretty well? Do I sound all right? What's up, LOP? Nice font on the text. Yeah, I just StreamYard's changed in the last year. They got like text fonts now. I like this one so far, but then they got like the one that I use for like my my intro with the the hacker look, like the 8-bit one. But I like this for now with the I think it's like a brownish burgundy. All right, yo, I sound good. Okay, yeah. So, to get this going and moving along, it's already been 11 minutes. The intro though, you can't tell me that doesn't go hard because that legitimately goes pretty hard. I like listening to it, but getting Rush Limbaugh, Dark MAGA off the screen right here. I wanted to use Donald Trump waving at the McDonald's drive-thru. I like this image. I find it very wholesome. But let me mirror my screen. There's some stuff that I want to get through. I've been browsing Charlie Kirk's that's showing a Twitter page, and as we've covered, he is a moderately backer of Zionist Israel, and there's some other stuff that I'm going to bring up later into the video. I'm probably going to go till about maybe like 4:30 because I do need some sleep. I'm pretty lightheaded, but so scrolling through this, we can see Charlie. There's no denying that Israel has become a massive topic in the U.S. politics, and particularly among Gen Z. At our recent Student Action Summit, I hosted a focus group with our Turning Point USA students to get a sense of what they think about the topic. As you'll see, they don't hate Israel or people. They are skeptical about the state of America's current relationship with the country, and they want to be confident America's leaders are putting their own country first. Well, see, I would hope Charlie would think like that, but from what we've previously seen in the past, I'm not going to pull up the video now, but as I mentioned in the last 2 nights, he has been confronted on stage, believe 2 years ago, but it could be shorter of a span of time or longer. And he was confronted on the USS Liberty, and he got very defensive, and he called it a conspiracy theory, when in truth, there are files that dictate that that was a real event. That definitely was a real event. You can Google it for the most part and get basic info regarding that when Israel bombed the U.S. naval ship and killing American troops, but there was no percussions that they had to pay for that. We were still funneling money. We were still funneling money to them at that time. Breaking: President Trump announces a 60-day ceasefire to Israel-Gaza war. And I'm sure you can go on and find pretty much of what Israel is, Charlie Kirk's views of what Israel, and for the most part, he's an avid Zionist, but yet he's a proud defender of white people. If a random white person simply, like another, who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Mark Dice. If a random white person simply walked up to and stabbed a nice law-abiding person for no reason, it would be a apocalyptically huge national story used to impose sweeping political changes on the whole country. Will Kane is 100% right. We have been propagandized by liars and fakers in the media to believe that America is a vicious, racist country, and indiscriminate attacks on people happen all the time. But the numbers tell the truth. Attacks on people happen 3 times more often than crime, despite being only 13% of the population. Why won't the media just tell the truth? Why lie when those lies result in innocent people dying? The left accused conservatives of racializing the death of Irina Zarutska. Well, that's that little that little Ukrainian girl that got stabbed on that BART train by, that big buff, dreaded feller, while literally making sure to capitalize the word while not capitalizing the other inferior color, so that all white people is legitimately one of the most things to say. So President Trump is on the roof of the White House. Okay, that's not. But I mean, you can go through here, and he's an avid defender of white people, but he loves the Jews, the Jews. Where's that? Where was I at? Right here, the ADL. Whatever it was in the past, today the ADL is a hate group that dons a religious mask to justify stoking hatred of the left's enemies. I believe in the First Amendment and free speech as a principle, regardless of what the law says. I don't want to ban anyone's speech, but the ADL has no place extorting X, Twitter, or any other social media companies, nor should it dictate its federal law enforcement agencies what no sh- nor should it dictate to federal law agencies what hate speech is. The ADL itself is America's number one purveyor of hate speech, and the SPLC is number two. I'm gonna go back to see what the comments say. I got 5 of them. Let me pin this. I'm gonna continue with that. Yeah, I'm trying to keep these videos up. If you haven't noticed, they're staying up. So I'm not gonna I have to censor myself. You know the protocol to that. I think Rush is better than DJT. Yeah, I definitely do. I think he would have made a better MAGA than what MAGA has now. But you can't really complain what you get. You know what I'm saying? I would rather see Rush Limbaugh with a cigar in his mouth. Hold on. I would rather see Rush Limbaugh with a cigar in his mouth and a smile like this, waving outside a McDonald's or Chick-fil-A than Donald Trump. But you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, is what I was taught as a child. So it is what it is. LOP. But yes, I am censoring myself. Yeah, but Rush Limbaugh is one of the. Hold on, let me find the comment. Rush Limbaugh is one of the greatest American heroes of all time, and that's true. That's definitely true. But let me get back to this. Where was I at? Right here. Okay. I'm coming through, all right. Yeah, I believe I'm coming through. I hope I'm not robotic-y. I was listening to myself over from last night. I cut it in and out, static-y a little bit, but for the most part, I got myself across. I was listening in earlier from work. The ADL claims it's okay to be white is a white nationalist expression. See, another thing with the ADL is that he's calling it a hate group, and he's absolutely right. Because what they're doing to people is exactly what they did to Ted Pike. If you don't know who Ted Pike is, he did a whole expose on the Talmud, and they tried labeling him as an anti-you-know-what. And, they've got him in a corner where, he has been bullied and has become a victim of people like this, perpetuated from stereotypes and claims by the ADL. It's okay. The Southern African song "Kill the Boer" is just a protest song that isn't really about genocide. That the Great Replacement is a conspiracy theory, despite the Democrat politicians bragging about replacing American voters with immigrants. Excuse me. We read this one last night. See, what's funny is Jonathan Greenblatt used to be the chairman of NBC, but now he's the CEO of the ADL, which is Jonathan Greenblatt is right here. Jonathan Greenblatt has the same name as this guy I'm about to bring up right here. So Hubbard is not Zach's real last name. He's stated plenty of times in his video that his real last name is Greenblatt, quoting him, which is a Jewish last name. And so, I'm not saying there's any connection there, but it's very funny that, that's the name for the ADL's CEO. Where was I at? Right here. Here's the ADL CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, bragging to MSNBC how the group extorts every single tech company in the Silicon Valley to censor Americans and ban hate speech. That's why years ago and still now, we're getting removed for the stuff that we say, from Amazon to Microsoft to Meta and indeed Twitter. But Twitter is now, the front face of free speech for the most part. We've dealt with them for years, helping them to tackle the challenges of hate speech. Can you talk more about Rush Limbaugh? What has he done to be a hero? Yeah, I can in a little bit, but I had some stuff that I wanted to cover for the most part, and I want to get that done. Uh, from Amazon to Microsoft to Meta and indeed Twitter, we've dealt with them for years, helping them to tackle the challenges of hate speech on their platforms. So everything that I'm talking about right now will come to an end, but it's a presentation that I want to get across. For helping them tackle the challenges of hate speech on their platform for years. The reason why we were so concerned is because we think Twitter is such a consequential service. It's real early for me. Allowing people who created the toxicity on the platform that led to real world violence, the conspiracy theories that dominated on Twitter for so long exploded in places like Pittsburgh, Poway, El Paso, and of course in Washington, D.C. on J6. Freedom of speech isn't the freedom to slander. Katie Freeman of The Expression shouldn't be the freedom to incite violence. All right, so, as we can keep moving along, we can see that Charlie Kirk is a based man to some degree. He even has like views on, trans violence. And actually, the dude that shot him had some kind of like trans awareness, or I think his partner was trans, or his boyfriend, girlfriend dude. So, I mean, yeah, it took, it came back on him. But, as we seen, a couple weeks ago at that Catholic school with, them little boys and girls that died from this word right here, violence, is definitely a problem in America. That's something that I was just looking up. Where was I at? Where was I at? Okay. I wanted to play something, but I'm gonna have to look it up real quick, so I'll read the comments if I have any. Oh man, I wasn't even sharing my screen. Oh, that sucks. You know what? I'm gonna redo it. I'm gonna redo that because I'm clipping this all later. So let me it's pretty early for me, so I'm gonna have to redo this. Okay. I could have swore I was sharing my screen, but I guess I wasn't. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I'll react to it. I'll let you up in a little bit, LOP. Twitter is not free speech. Yeah, it's definitely not. But yeah, Zachary Greenblatt. So let's see. There we go. All right. So, to start over, because I wasn't sharing my screen, clearly we can see to some degree that Charlie Kirk is based, to a degree, but he still perpetuates a idea of where Israel is good to a stance, and he's willing to defend that through thick and thin. Well, clearly not anymore, but when he was alive, he did, as we mentioned earlier with the USS Liberty. But scrolling through this to get down to what he was saying right here. So I'll bring up actually in a moment. Okay. So reading what Charlie has posted about the ADL, whatever it is in the past, today the ADL is a hate group that dons a religious mask to justify stoking hatred of the left's enemies. I believe in the First Amendment and free speech as a principle, regardless of what the law says. I don't want to ban anyone's speech, but the ADL has no place extorting X, Twitter, or any other social media companies, nor should it dictate to federal law enforcement agencies what hate speech is. The ADL itself is America's #1 purveyor of hate speech, and the SPLC is the #2. The ADL claims it's okay to be white slogan is a white nationalist expression. The South African song Kill the Boer is just a protest song that isn't really about white genocide. That the Great Replacement theory is despite Democrat politicians bragging about replacing American voters with immigrants, that the number are all hate symbols. The ADL has created a cottage industry claiming that hate and anti you know what everywhere. It doesn't exist, but it has yet to denounce Canada's parliament giving an actual, a standing ovation. The ADL is run by frauds and con men. Here's ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt. And as I've mentioned a moment ago, Jonathan Greenblatt has the same last name as our boy Zachary right here. As he has said in the past, Hubbard is not his real last name. His real last name is Greenblatt, which is a Jewish last name. That's a quote by Zachary right here. Now, I'm not saying there's a connection here, but it's interesting to think about if you look at it from that kind of perspective. So, reading this, I read this last night, so I'm going to read through it a third time, actually showing it. Here's the ADL CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, bragging to MSNBC how the group extorts every single tech company in the Silicon Valley to censor Americans and ban hate speech. From Amazon to Microsoft to Meta and indeed Twitter, we've dealt with them for years, helping them to tackle the challenges of hate speech on their platform. The reason why we were so concerned is because we think Twitter is such a consequential. Jesus, I know the word. I can't say this shit. It's like so early in the morning. Service allowing people who created the toxicity on the platform that led to real world violence. The conspiracy theory that dominated on Twitter for so long exploded in places like Pittsburgh, Poway, El Paso, and of course in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. Freedom of speech isn't the freedom to slander people. Katie, freedom of expression shouldn't be the freedom to incite violence. So, as I mentioned, to mention again, the ADL is a hate group. They don themselves with a religious mask to justify stoking hatred of the left's enemies. And they use bullying tactics. They bully their opposition into either quitting what they're doing or total submission in support of what they're saying. Similar to what they did to Ted Pike when he was going out against exposing, the Talmud and, the Judea Encyclopedia and what it says in these religious texts and religious books that not a lot of the masses are aware of. And I'm going to get into one of those in a little bit, or maybe two of them, and see the situation that is involved with that and what it says. And that's a good person to mention right now is Ted Pike. But let me see if I got any comments. No, I'm not reacting to that. No, I'm not sharing that video on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on my YouTube channel, LOP. I've seen that what Russian Vids has posted already. I think the guy really died. I mean, there's it was probably something that he got took out of the game for. Let me see. The ADL is a hate group. They want to divide us more. Yes, they definitely do. I thought Greenblatt is Zach Hubbard. Yes, it is. Twitter is not free speech. It kind of is now, but that depends on what you're saying. It's just free speech for one side, not the other. Yeah, kind of. My grandmother used to listen to Rush Limbaugh's show on our way to meetings. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh is all around American hero. He seemed like a nice fellow. Jay, can you? No, I already read that comment. Yo, what's up, Luke? I think Russian Vid's video was good. Yeah, I think it's a good video, but I don't agree with all his points on it. Yeah, he removed that he uploaded that video on his YouTube channel earlier and then he removed it. But to spare time, I'm gonna keep moving along. Where was I at? Let's go. I got Kirk's stuff on Israel, white genocide, white problems, ADL. All right, all right. That's where I was left at. So what's funny is I looked this up earlier regarding Charlie Kirk to see what his thoughts on trans related issues are. Right here. Wow, Jesse Waters just used one of the biggest platforms in all of television to call out the disturbing regularity of violence. Statistically, the trans clan has a militant wing and it's out for blood. They're taking lives, defiling churches, and freaking out everybody. And so, similar to what Jesse Waters here is talking about, as I mentioned earlier, the last couple weeks we had that shooter that went to that Catholic school, and now all them little boys and girls died. And there's an issue at play, and I'm sure the Democratic left and the socialist commie Marxists here within the U.S., the lobbyists that are trying to undermine our laws and turn us into a third world country could care less because this is what they're trying to perpetuate and this is what they give as a oppress the people means to do. So it came back on Charlie because the person that shot him had some kind of like trans connection. I believe their spouse or somebody that they know was like trans, somebody close to him. I believe their partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, something spouse was like this gentleman right here. So, that's just something to mention there. Where was I at? Here we go. I just wanted to bring this up. I seen it earlier. Where is it at? I thought it was interesting about the Marxist, and it mentioned cross-dressing, so I thought it would go into the trans. For those unaware, the president of Colombia is a literal cross-dressing Marxist terrorist whose revolutionary group killed hundreds of Colombians. America should not and will not be bossed around by the terrorist president of a foreign country. In October 1985, while disguised as a woman, Petro was arrested and incarcerated after he was found to be in possession of firearms, homemade explosives, and propaganda. So, what we're currently seeing in the last post with Jesse Waters is not new at all. Kamala is a Marxist, so this is something that's been going on for a while. This is very similar to what the Bolsheviks did back in 1916, 17, 15 with the Tsar and trying to overthrow the Tsar. And, eventually they did. But America's the last place for freedom of speech because no other country like America has the laws to protect shit like this. And only here. Because if you said this about probably a politician in like the UK, you're probably serving 2 years in jail. Who is this? Oh yeah, that's just something else. Let's see. Now this is something else that I've seen earlier. Somebody commented this. I thought this was interesting. So let me go back to the chat. I can see it's moving along. Anything worth looking for? Go to the east to meet the Tsar. It's on Ridge. I saw you on Ridge's Facebook page, Tim. Oh yeah. I forget that your name is Tim, Luke. I'm used to calling you Luke. So I'm going to keep calling you that. My bad, but that's just how I know you. But yeah, I commented I posted this earlier 23 hours ago. I don't even feel like that. Make America Great Again with Rush Limbaugh, the all-around greatest American hero. And somebody commented this. I don't know who they are, but I'm not even going to mess with that. Sharia law brotherhood is paying their way to total global takeover for the Antichrist. So this is something I've been noticing about Christians since I was a child, actually. I've been watching videos since I was like 11 or 12 regarding Christianity, concepts and theologies of who be the Antichrist and who's going to be the Antichrist and what race is he going to be, what religion is he going to be. And a lot of Christians believe that he's going to be Muslim, spreading Sharia law as the Antichrist, declaring himself as God. Yada yada. It's probably going to be Obama. Obama's Muslim. I believed in that for a moment of time, but I actually believed Obama might actually be Jewish, because if you actually think about the Antichrist figure, there's no way that he's going to be a Muslim. That just doesn't make any kind of sense, because if you think about it, he's going to build the third temple. He's going to declare himself as God with that kind of concept. I don't necessarily believe in the Christian Antichrist for the most part, but I do believe in the Jewish Messiah. So if you want to, label those both as instances, then that there's your answer. But I don't believe it's going to be the Sharia law Muslim shit. But the same kind of concept and paranoia that comes out of the Christian truth religious community trying to label the Christian community that looks at Islam as a precursor to evil to come, but then yet they'll be like Charlie Kirk and be pro-Israel Zionism, but yet Islamic phobic, and the Muslims are all outright all around evil religions, which in truth they're not. Sharia law ain't shit when it comes to this right here. So this is Sephara.org. This is Sanhedrin 59A3 from the William Davidson Talmud. Okay, so let's read this. Let's read this, because as what's his Pam Word says Sharia law is, something to look forward to, something to look at with precaution for total global takeover, but yet, not pay attention to, the lesser known stuff. So let's read this. Let's go up to somewhere. Let's see. Where am I looking for? Where am I looking for? It's in this passage, but this is something to pay in mind. So where should we start? Where should we start? We'll start. Let's start right here. Rav Huna says his hand should be cut off, as it is stated, and the high arm shall be broken. Job 38:15. If one habitually lifts his arm to strike others, it is better that it be broken. The Gemara relates that Rav Huna cut off the hand of a person who habitually hits others. So, that some people might agree with that. Rabbi Elazar says such a violent person has no remedy but burial, as it is stated, and as a mighty man who has the earth. Job 22:8. The expression literally means a man of the arm, and the verse is interpreted I'm not going to even say that. It's too early for me. To mean that one habitually strikes others deserves to be buried. So, I just want to read from these so, we can move along into where I'm getting into. So, that's, I guess, talking about, one who attacks one, break the arm. So, some people may agree with that. But here, so it's a group of rabbis talking amongst each other, explaining, different things and theologies and how to approach them. And there's a passage in here that's would go along with this right here, is the whole gist. And let's see. Here you go. And Reish Lakish says a Gentile who observes Shabbat, Sabbath, is liable to receive the death penalty, as it is stated, and day and night shall not cease. Genesis 8:23, which literally means, and day and night they shall not rest. This is interpreted to mean that the descendants of Noah may not take a day of rest, and the Master said, 57a, that their prohibition is their death penalty. The punishment for any prohibition with regard to the descendants of Noah is execution. Ravina says, if a descendant of Noah observes a day of rest on a day of the week, even one not set aside for religious worship, e.g. on a Monday, he is liable. The Gemara challenges this, but let the Tana count his prohibition among the 7 Noahide mitzvot. Mitzvot is another word for like commandment or laws. The Gemara explains when the Tana counts the 7 mitzvot, 7 laws, he counts only those that require one to sit and refrain from action. Those that include prohibition against performing a certain action, he does not count mitzvot that require one to arise and take action. The Gemara challenges, but the mitzvot establishing courts of judgment is a mitzvot to stand up and take action. Nevertheless, he counts it among the 7 mitzvot. The Gemara answers, this mitzvot contains a requirement to stand up and take action. Am I mirroring this? Oh God, I was gonna say, but yes, it's working. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. Thank the Lord. This mitzvah contains a requirement to stand up and take action, the obligation to establish courts and carry out justice, and it also contains a requirement to sit and refrain from action, the prohibition against doing injustice. So here we go. And Rab Yohanan says, a Gentile who engages in Torah study is liable to receive the death penalty, as it is stated, Moses commanded us a Torah law, an inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. So when you hear Jews say that the law is only for the Jews, and I've also stated this as well, here's the concept right here. Moses commanded us a Torah, a law, as inheritance of the congregation of Jacob, which this is basically saying the law is only for the Jews. Deuteronomy 33:4, indicating that it is an inheritance for us and not them. So the Gemara challenges, but if so, let the Tana count his prohibition among the 7 Noahide mitzvot. So, we're going to get into the 7 Noahide laws. If nobody doesn't know what the 7 Noahide laws is, I'll probably mention it. I believe I have something pulled up. But if you want something right away, probably Google it. You'll get a rundown. I'll look in the chat in a moment. But I'm in the mode, so I'm going to keep going. The Gemara challenges, but if so, let the Tana count this prohibition among the 7 Noahide mitzvot. The Gemara explains, according to one of those who says that the verse is referring to the Torah as an inheritance, this prohibition is included in the prohibition of robbery, as a Gentile who studies the Torah robs the Jewish people of it. According to the one who says that the verse is referring to the Torah as betrothed, as the spelling of the Hebrew word for betrothed is similar to that of the word for inheritance, the punishment of a Gentile who studies the Torah is like the one who engages in intercourse with a betrothed young woman, which is execution by stoning. So, I don't know how blatant this gets, but this is where we have the 7 Noahide laws concept. It's from the Talmud. And I don't know how more clear that this gets. A Gentile who engages in Torah study, a Gentile who reads from the Old Testament, is liable to receive the death penalty, as it is stated. So, morons like this say that Sharia law is going to kill everybody. It's dangerous. It's evil. Clearly, they don't know about shit like this. So, yes, I actually do have it pulled up. The 7 Noahide laws are a Jewish concept of a universal moral code for all of humanity, so non-Jews, derived from the Babylonian Talmud and based on the biblical passages attributed to the covenant with Noah after the flood. The 7 laws are: 1, do not practice adultery, do not curse, do not murder, do not engage in illicit sexual relations, do not steal, do not eat flesh from a living animal, establish courts of justice to ensure laws and fairness. So, all of this sounds all right, but what is this one? Establish courts of justice to ensure laws of fairness? That's one of the 7 Noahide laws, is to not set up a law or a justicial branch of laws and policing, So this is something that I've covered a couple times now. The building of the third temple. I personally believe once this is taking place, you can watch this video right here, Illuminati Third Temple of Zion, New World Order, New Age Spiritualism, coming of Aquarius. Round Saturn's Eye, David, the bald British gentleman, great channel, went to Israel and has interviewed spiritualistic religious Jews trying to build the third temple. They have an organization about building the third temple. They do tours and everything. They have the site where they want to build it. And they also have a coin that has Cyrus the Assyrian and Trump the American president.
This is the mold. Okay, this is the
on the coin.
of the second
So as I put right here, this is foreshadowing of something big incoming.
Cyrus Trump temple coin. And as you can see over here, let's see what we have. Okay, first of all, we have over here in Hebrew, Lemalot, Shivim Shana, to fulfill 70 years. The original verse, to fulfill 70 years, is when the Jews went out to exile, to the Babylonian exile. They were there for 70 years. And after 70 years, King Cyrus said, God, the Lord of the world, gave me permission to let you and the Jews come back to the land of Israel. And look what he said. And he charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. And now, 70 years, for the state of Israel, something happened again. One of the biggest leaders of the world, again, President Donald Trump, and here we see the seal of America, he again recognized Jerusalem as the capital.
Okay. So there's one more that I want to show. But I got to find the portion of the video. This is what you'll see right here. That's where that clip was from.
Also built a house in Jerusalem. But we don't want only the...
Do you think that the Vatican Pope Francis, he seems to have a similar message? Do you think that that Rome will go along with
God 15 times bigger than this?
I'm just going to skim through this real quick, but I have a point that I want to get across with this established courts of justice to ensure laws and fairness. Why would that be like, do not practice adultery, do not curse? So, I mean, like, to establish courts of justice to assure laws and fairness, I mean, what kind of fairness and, like, justice are we talking about to enforce laws? So, I mean, it would probably be from, you know, a Talmudic standpoint. But then again, you know, there's some other stuff that I want to present in this this argument that I have.
And the temple can be built.
As Trump says, every nation will keep his language, his culture, his beliefs. It's not a globalization.
Okay.
It's to walk one God on Temple Mount.
What is a Muslim? What is a Muslim? Muslim in the Hebrew world is perfect. Whomever talked to God is perfect. According to the Quran, Ibrahim was Muslim. They're the terrorists. But whenever everybody will
the temple, isn't it? And I wanted to ask you this lamp. So
This is where it picks up from here.
That would be the lamp of Queen Helena, who is a Persian. I mistakenly thought it was Constantine's mother, Helena, but this is a Persian Queen Helena.
She was very fond of the Jewish people as she converted to Judaism herself, and the sages liked her very much. And when she wanted to donate something to the temple, so she made this candelabra made of gold. Okay. And when the sun used to rise from the east, it would hit the gold candelabra, and it would spread the light like symbolically, but not only symbolically, from the temple.
So it reflects the sun.
It reflects the sun
as it rises from the east, and this is what we're seeing in this picture over here, right? This is the sun reflection from the lamp of Queen Helena.
Exactly.
And so we've got that kind of Persian thing again. And would it be right to say that there's some element of Kabbalah in this temple?
Well, Kabbalah is actually the inner part of the Torah. We have what the Torah tells us, and it's written in the Torah. And the Kabbalah is actually what isn't written, but we have to want to understand maybe about little Persia and these all ancient nations, Eastern nations. Religions. So it's made with religions.
So would you describe this as like a kind of a new world order? So
this is not an order. This is not order. It's different. It's the new world without any, let's say, negative and forbidden feelings like hatred, like revenge. Like it will be only loving appreciation, honoring. So this will be a new world, but not all honor. It will be a new world, holistic, the holistic way, the way God wants it.
On here it says the Persian Empire. Do you think that this temple could somehow unite Islam, Muslim religion with Christianity and Judaism? Do you think that's
So if
It says on
There
in
you
the
go.
Temple Institute that there's going to be a Sanhedrin court,
Yeah.
so they would make
So this is the whole point that I'm playing this video for. As it says right here, establish courts of justice to ensure laws and fairness. So the court justicial system would be the Sanhedrin court system. So whatever the Talmudists deem as fairness, which would probably only be fairness to them, is what this is going to be. So, to play this right here.
judgments from the court in the temple. Is that
There is a special place in the temple for the Sanhedrin. My temple will be the center of the prayer of the whole world. This is what Isaiah said. So we know will be the future. So we are just marching in. I know it's like a mathematical formula. We're getting closer and closer. Last Sanhedrin war was 1,600 years ago, and we had the right code how to reestablish it because we knew that it has to be established. And all of the rabbis agreed on one rabbi that he is like Moses. And all of the rabbis agreed on one rabbi that he is like Moses. He can ordained other people. He ordained three, and the three of them ordained 71 at Tiberias, exactly the same place where the last Sanhedrin said 600 years ago. 600. So this is part of the process.
So we can get a kind of like concept of what we're looking at here. So what the Christians fear with the Sharia law, the whole idea of what they're talking about is actually taking place, but it's not Muslims. It's something a lot more secretive. So this is from the Southern Poverty Line. Evidence grows of far-right militia resurgence. But the only reason why I'm presenting this is that it mentions Ted Gunderson, the former head of director of the FBI, because he has went on record saying that the U.S. the U.S. government has purchased 30,000 guillotines. So let's read this. In Pensacola, Florida, retired FBI agent Ted Gunderson tells a gathering of anti-government patriots that the federal government has set up 1,000 internment camps across the country and is storing 30,000 guillotines and 500,000 caskets in Atlanta. Therefore, the day that the government finally declares martial law and moves in to round up and unalive American dissenters, he says they're going to keep track of all of us, folks. Government Gunderson warns. Outside Atlanta, a so-called American grand jury issues an indictment of a Barack Obama for fraud and treasons because the panel concludes that he wasn't born in the United States and is illegally occupying the office of president. And also, like, ideas like this about Obama is where we get ideas like this regarding, Muslims and an Islamic global takeover. But, you can read this for yourself. Just look up Ted Gunderson, 30,000 guillotines. But This is archived today. Why did the U.S. government recently purchase 30,000 guillotines? I got to keep this. So why do we fight Islam? I mean, like, this is kind of shit that you see from, people like this person right here. But, I'm not really going to show much of this site. I just wanted to read this. You can find this as you look up this. But this has been a widespread concept for a while. But if you don't know, this is what a guillotine is. So I found this on Twitter earlier. Quotes. It's probably from a Shabbat Lubavitch Jew. They're very keen supporters of the 7 Noahide laws. Quotes, insights, and sayings to help you transform your life mentally and spiritually in love, friendship, happiness, and peace from Jerusalem. So, as we've seen from the video, it's kind of a new age concept with cloaked in a Judeo presence. So, their person that they're waiting on is kind of like this, kind of like a new age Jayish hippie type, but, coming to wage war and, against global dominion. And it's not Jesus. It's anti-Christian. And from what I'm getting at is that if this is the penalty right here, if this is the penalty for somebody that is a Gentile, a non-who, and reads from the Torah, and I'm assuming reading from the Torah disobeys this 7 Noahide mitzvot law, then from there they'll the 7 mitzvot law, disobeying reading from the Torah, and an obligation to establish courts of justice, that Sanhedrin Talmudist court will then act on this, and the penalty, where did that go, will be this, or the internment camps. So if you remember during Hurricane Harvey back in like 2017, when that took place, which is also man-made, by the way, just to bring in HAARP with the creating weather. I posted a video about this a couple weeks ago where they actually admitted that they can create weather. So, I mean, if they're creating it on small levels like this, where's it at? Right here, cloud seeding, HAARP, making weather. This is a little compilation I made where they're showing you where they cloud seed, they can make weather. So I guarantee you that, they have the technology to make a hurricane. That's not too far-fetched if they're doing shit like this. So, when they gutted out those Walmarts and, what looked like, people were filming them. So, that's where everything comes into play. So this is a little video I made years ago where during Hurricane Harvey, they were gutting out all the Walmarts, and it looked like what they were setting up were FEMA camps, is what people call them, or FEMA camps, or deterrent camps. I'm just trying to find a little bit of the video right here. Okay, here we go. Houston residents were evacuated to Walmart FEMA camp for temporary holding during the storm. By the way, that's what's her name? Hacking the headlines.
Walmart closure and changes that's taken place around here since they closed it. I'm going to explain to you what you're going to see, so you'll know what you're looking at. Right after Walmart closed, they had an AT&T communications building start construction right at the northeast corner of Walmart. We drove by the other day and I took an up-close picture of the warning sign that it had on the fence. Now, this is US 59 South Feeder Road. Oh, here's some side entrance to Walmart. Pull through Walmart here and let's see the changes that's taking place here. Everything's still blacked out. Big roll doors closed. Yes. Okay. No problem. Yes. Yes.
Inside there, you see there's nothing there. All of them are demon possessed. They wouldn't have gotten that position if they weren't either knowingly or unknowingly demon possessed. And the higher they are, the more they know exactly what they're doing.
People ask me why Walmart's closing. The answer is simple. Why? Because I'm in logistics class. We developed, you guys are developed a logistics system for Walmart.
Personally, but I've heard these people admit that they've sold their soul to the devil.
This is Calhoun 7, reporting from the Springdale Walmart, or the closed down Walmart in Ohio. I want people to notice I'm on the back side of the compound, and this wire runs a lot farther than just the old Walmart. It wraps all the way up around David's Bridal. That part, that peak right there coming up right in the center, in the front of the building, that's David's Bridal. It wraps all the way down and around all this.
There's also another video out there. I don't know if I included it in this one. It's been 8 years. So, you know, you can get the idea of how I wouldn't remember. But, you know, they gut out all these Walmarts. So what's the reason for that? You know, what's the reason for the barbed wire? What's the reason for the guard towers? What's the reason for the fences? What's the reason why there's no stuff inside all these Walmarts? What's the reason for 30,000 guillotines and all the caskets that were like polyester? Remember that? Yeah. So here we go. This is something that I also read last night. The Elders of Zion. I'm just trying to find what I was reading a moment ago. But if you get my gist, then, you know, starting to make a little bit more sense. So the actual people to fear is not the Muslims, let's say themselves, but the people that are perpetuating that stereotype. All right. I really can't find that. So I'll look in a moment, but, you know, it's not really too relevant. But the people that promote the 7 Noahide laws are the Chabad Lubavitch Jews, Jewish movement in New York, and our current president in the making, along with Tucker Carlson, has ties to this movement. Here he is in this picture, paying homage to the grave of Rabbi Schneerson, who was a Kabbalist, Talmudist, Chabad Lubavitch rabbi. So it has said a lot of interesting things, and these are the people that also have built the underground tunnels. This is Rabbi Schneerson right here. Did you know about not Netanyahu's favorite rabbi, Menachem M. Schneerson? During her interview on Piers Morgan, Candace Owens referred to what she termed as radical and characterized the iconic Lubavitcher Rabbi Menachem Schneerson as someone who preached, which he definitely did. If you can read that, I'm not going to say that. I don't even know if this video is going to stay up, but you know, I'm doing it anyway. There's somebody that I had on here that I wanted to show. It's Greater Israel. I'm gonna cut the thing off real quick while I pull this up. Rabbi Schneerson. So it's not like, I just want to show that it's not just Trump in office. It's deeper than it gets. I had it pulled up earlier, but I don't know what I did with it. So here we have, this is the Rabbi Mendel Schneerson right here of the Lubavitcher. And this is RFK Jr., and this is inside his house, and he has this portrait on the wall. So, I mean, Trump also has stuff like this in the Trump Tower. I have done videos on that, like where Trump says he's in the Kabbalah. I think it's in this one right here. I cover pretty much everything I can find, from his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, Israeli business tycoon married to Ivanka Trump, who actually practices Kabbalah, and Jared Kushner owning 666 Fifth Avenue in New York City, which is actually Mystery Babylon, but that's a topic for another discussion. But just to bring into the record right here, Ivanka Trump red Kabbalah bracelet decoded. We can see from the little icon right here. Watch. I'll just play it.
Hey, Ivanka.
I went through all of her Instagram to make this video, and there's the reoccurrence of the red bracelet. So she's married to a proud person like Schneerson with money in the office, and her dad's this gentleman right here. So it's definitely goes deeper than you would expect. So let me read the comments real quick. I think people tuned out, but I mean, if anybody can understand what I'm getting at, this is the current mission that is being played out. So what this gentleman right here said: Sharia law, brotherhood is paying their way to global takeover for the Antichrist. No, it's the exact opposite in a different religion. So the Islamists, the Muslims, may have some kind of leeway and play into this, but no, this is the commander-in-chief of the secret societies and the orders that are at bay right now to these individuals. So I may have got tongue-tied when I was reading the 7 Noahide laws earlier, but bringing it up again. Established courts of justice to ensure laws of fairness. Well, if you disobey those laws of fairness, well, I mean, you're probably going to get penalized with an issue like this. Maybe similar. So let's say, like, you go into a business and then you steal an apple. And that store owner just might be a right here. And your penalty, instead of going to jail, is probably like what they did in the gulag. That's probably what these Walmarts are. Is that are more liable to receive that. And so, that's the wrong one. This is probably why there's 30,000 of them purchased by the U.S. government. So, that is the play of what I wanted to get at. So, Charlie Kirk, getting back to this, taken out of the game. taken out of the game for things he says. John Brennan voted for the communist presidential candidate when college. About, like the ADL. This is just something that I wanted to bring up about Trump real quick. Fraternal Order of Police, FOP. That is a Fraternal Order of Police. This is a Masonic police group. Here he is speaking at them. He's done that plenty of times. Trump's logo is the dual-headed eagle, like Albert Pike, dual-headed eagle. Trump's company logo. Freemason double-headed phoenix. Trump's Scottish European coat of arms. This is Art Del Cueto. I think he's currently still in his position, but in the first term, Trump had this guy around. He was in charge of border security, or was one of the main people in charge of border security. He's an open Freemason. You can see right here. There's more just than these instances. Trump's pastor, Brother Norman Vincent Peale, Presbyterian pastor, Brother Norman Vincent Peale, the author of The Power of Positive Thinking, was a Shriner 33rd degree Freemason. I think that gets overlooked at as well. I had some guy the other night on a channel tell me, so what if that's the case? Well, I mean, it starts a conversation on what the hell is really going on. And, I think I just summarized a little bit of it. But I want to touch upon further protocols of the Elders of Zion later. I touched upon it last night. If you haven't seen that, what I'm trying to find and read is that portion. And then I want to do the Greater Israel expansion plan and the Ben Gurion Canal. So take this as like part 1, part 2, part 3 summaries. I'm going to drop a link for anybody in the chat who wants to join. I got about till 5 in the morning. I do got to get some sleep. I work tomorrow, and I just got off like 3 hours ago, I think, right before I started this. Kabbalah Warlocks for Christ. Oh, that's retarded. You're getting blocked. But yeah, I'm dropping this right here. So there's a link in the chat if anybody's watching, they want to join. You are welcome to do so. I think I did pretty well. I almost spilled my drink on me halfway through while I was talking like 10 minutes ago. I'm like so lightheaded right now. I'm so tired. But, I still would be up regardless, like playing like Red Dead Online or something. But, I thought about doing a stream. And this is something that's, probably educational for the most part. And, yeah. So if LOP is still in the chat or anybody's watching, I got 6 viewers. There's a link in the chat. If anybody doesn't join in the next 3 minutes, I'm cutting it from here. But I think that was a good discussion. I think I did pretty well. Isn't that Cabal? Yes, it is. Share, share, share. Yes, definitely share. Yag T Vias Prime. I don't know what the fuck that guy was saying, but I mean, it seemed retarded, so I got rid of that. What is this? I didn't even see all these. I think DJT is the Antichrist. Oh, yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Live in Sydney at the live in Sydney at the anti-government corruption rally. YouTube. Oh, okay. Yeah, check that out. I seen some of that what you posted, Luke. That's pretty cool. I streamed a rally. Yeah, I seen some of that stream. Nice, nice. All right. So, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. I'm gonna play a video. If anybody doesn't join, I'm probably gonna end this from here. I think I was on here long enough. I'll be right back.
This is what the New World Order said they would do is coming true. They're going to carry out the forced depopulation of 90% of us, and their time frame is 2030, and they have their surrogates all over the news telling us that it's the end of the world as we know it, and that it's our fault that all the systems are breaking down, while they deliberately go down the line, turning the civilization infrastructure off in front of us. And everything else flows downstream from that. But that's the fount of it. BlackRock with $15 trillion in liquid assets. They've got quadrillions leveraged, and they control almost every major CEO, almost every major pension fund. And they get up on TV and say, we're going to control every aspect of your life. We're going to break your families up. We're going to make you eat bugs, and we're going to, do all of this. And it's their policies that can destroy any company they want that doesn't get in line. I know they staged those terror attacks. You know what it's like to go up to this and go out every day and go past the peer pressure and come out day one and say 9/11 was an inside job and lose most of the radio stations I was on. You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day. You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life. You know what it's like, you sons of bitches. I'm tired of your crap. You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end. Some of us won't make it personally through this, but a lot of us are. And in the end...
All right, I'm back. I got Luke on here now. All right, yo, what is up, Luke? Just to let you know, I got till 5, but you can say what you want until then. How's it going? You're on stream. Hello? Oh, apparently he's gone. Anyhow, I'm probably going to end this from here. Sorry, Luke, but I mean, I didn't hear you at all, so maybe that's some issues on your end. So, anyone still watching, leave a hashtag. Let's say Fred Herbert, in honorary remembrance of Fred Herbert. That's FredHerbert, in remembrance of this gentleman, fine gentleman here. Leave a hashtag there. I'm closing out now, Luke. Sorry, man. I'll be back on tomorrow. Hashtag Fred Herbert if you made it all the way to the end. And I hope you found this edifying. This is the Sacramento Truth Movement. And if you got any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you need any links, comment down below, and I'll surely get back to you. So take care, y'all.
This is what the New World Order said they would do is coming true. They're going to carry out the forced depopulation of 90% of us, and their time frame is 2030, and they have their surrogates all over the news telling us that it's the end of the world as we know it, and that it's our fault that all the systems are breaking down, while they deliberately go down the line, turning the civilization infrastructure off in front of us. And everything else flows downstream from that. But that's the fount of it. BlackRock with $15 trillion in liquid assets. They've got quadrillions leveraged, and they control almost every major CEO, almost every major pension fund. And they get up on TV and say, we're going to control every aspect of your life. We're going to break your families up. We're going to make you eat bugs, and we're going to, do all of this. And it's their policies that can destroy any company they want that doesn't get in line. I know they stage those terror attacks. You know what it's like to gut up to this and go out every day and go past the peer pressure and come out day one and say 9/11 was an inside job and lose most of the radio stations I was on. You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day. You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life. You know what it's like, you sons of bitches. I'm tired of your crap. You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end. Some of us won't make it personally through this, but a lot of us are. And in the end, you are going to be brought to justice. You want to fight? Better believe you've got one. You want to enslave my spirit? No! And I'll call on God to protect me and use me however God sees fit. And if I've destroyed my whole family with it, I don't blame God. I blame the stinking trash who will pay. These Nazi blood-sucking anti-American parasites that want to make you and your family slaves know that we are standing up against them, and we are red-blooded, and we are not slaves, and we are not bowing down to them. Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line. Get that through your goddamn fucking head. Stop pushing your shit. You're the people that have fucked this country over and gang raped the shit out of it, so stop shooting your mouth off claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch? I'll eat your ass. I'll do it. I will eat your ass.